Hey, what's up? It's another Hot 99-ish. My name's Danny, and thank you for joining me tonight. Yes, this is recorded for your convenience and for mine, so no matter what, you're going to get some valuable information. It's brought to you by Phone Sites, phonesites.com. You can build a landing page or website in 5 minutes or less. Go to phonesites.com/love. Sign up for your 14-day free trial. So I love it. So tonight I wanted to talk about something, and I know it's not nighttime. I know that the sun is shining right now. So when I say tonight, it's because you're probably watching this tonight because that's when I scheduled it for. Kind of a cool little trick, right? You can be everywhere and also be at the dinner table, sitting with your family or watching a movie or whatever the case may be. So that's what we teach too at breakfreeacademy.com. So join the apex.com. All right. So a few years back, I had bought a book, and this book was $7, $8. It was like the free book plus shipping, and I bought it. It's called Elevator to the Top. Really good book. You should still get it. It's very relevant, and everything you need to know about sales. I started reading this book, and I started implementing the things that were in this book that Ryan had written. And I love it because it's very simplistic. It's a very quick read, and it was the first time I had bought a book for myself. I know that's hard to believe. I'm talking beyond college. I'm talking about an actual book that I had bought for myself. So I buy this book, I implement. Around the same time, the mortgage company I was working at was looking for somebody to coach us up and get us acclimated to social media and how to market that way. And it just also happened so quickly. And we hired Ryan, and he started coaching us up. He saw my post on Twitter that I had made because I'd learned that from this sweet little book that I paid $8 for. And he hit me back later on and said, "Hey man, I noticed you narrate audiobooks. Would you be interested in narrating mine?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." And I made him a sweet deal that he couldn't refuse. So I got to narrate all of these. Yeah. And G-code's in there too. So yeah, I'm still working on that book as well. So we got a few more things to finish up on it, but should be available for audio very soon. But these are fantastic. These are fantastic, and I love it. So all of my efforts, it took me about 3 years to land my first direct paid client. Stuman was my first direct paid client. So what was I doing leading up to that? I was practicing. I had published, narrated, and edited 40 books before I got to that place, okay? And when I say published, I basically narrated and edited the books of other people. So not a big deal. You can do it too. You can actually be a publisher on a book that you've never even written. So that's a whole different game. That's a whole different show. That's a whole different skill set, but people are leveraging that. White label books, you can Google it. So tonight, or at this moment that you are watching this, it doesn't matter what time of the day, obviously it's daytime when I'm filming this, but I wanted to share with you what I was doing leading up to that. And I didn't have a lot of resources. I did have a basic studio, but I went to acx.com and I saw this on a video from somebody else on YouTube. Sorry, it's getting a little warm in here. I saw a video from a guy named Bill DeWeese, and Bill he was a professor for a long time up north and worked at a college, worked in radio as a GM and all kinds of stuff, was an on-air personality. And I was sitting there as I was working in radio not in radio, but in mortgage, thinking, what is it that I'm going to do and leave for my family? I'm like, well, I better come up with something that's going to be substantial, something they can look back and go, yeah, my dad did that. So what I did was I came to a site introduced to me by Bill DeWeese, and it's called ACX. It's Amazon Exchange, and basically Amazon they own the game as far as audiobooks are concerned. See, Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, they distribute through all three platforms, and it's really, really phenomenal. So essentially what I did was I came in and I signed up for an account, and this is a place where you can actually audition, and let me see if I remember. Oh, there it is. You can audition and submit your demo for an audiobook, and they have so many different genres. The genre, you can see I've sold 4,328 units total. No, it seems like a lot. Maybe it's not a lot, but there's some that I had actually auditioned for and did not get picked for, and it's pretty interesting. I did a few political books. I did an educational book. Let me see, what else did I do? Oh God. There's some that were pretty provocative. So the River City Chronicles, I don't think I ever did that one. I don't think I was interested in that one. That one was like, wasn't too interested in that one. You can see there are quite a few provocative titles. Crowning Clinton, Why Hillary Shouldn't Be in the White House. That was a funny book to read. Mr. Dark, Alpha Billionaire Romance. These were really good. That's like a 12-hour series, and I did each one of them independently. I still get paid on those, as you can see. So as of March 2016, I probably have about maybe 2 or 3 more years on that. They pay you for a period of about 7 years on this, on a royalty split. Everything is 50% of royalties from sales. So let me share with you that, because a lot of people are like, can you make money doing audiobooks? Yes, you can, and no, you can't. Just depends on the type of books you do, okay? You can see I've got 40 completed projects. I've had 46 offers. Some of them I never took. You can see I did 24 auditions. Immediately, when I came in, I started landing books, and it was really, really great. I think some of my favorite books were, you know, the business books. Those were the easiest ones. The romances, they were a little more involved. They had a few characters. Sometimes you had to be the man and the woman, and then you had to be like the bitchy old grandma and maybe the cynical friend that was, you know, maybe just twisted up about some stuff, or the grumpy older brother who didn't like, you know, the main character. So those took a little bit longer. Those took a little bit longer to, number one, read, to study, and then to interpret. And then you had to make sure that you actually nailed the characters in there too, or the tone of the characters. So, but I've had a really, really good time doing this. This journey has been pretty fun for me. But I love it because there's so many opportunities for things that you can do. So you can go in and see that there are a lot of different options and opportunities for you. So now they've got referral programs, they've got production earnings and things like that, where you can go in and you can make a lot of, Audio Lab, that's brand new. I'll have to check that out later on. So I went in here, submitted my auditions, and I wish they would show up all of the, they're not showing all of the graphics in some of these. So, but what I'll show you is that, let's go back here to my units, to this. You can see there's one that I did for Stuman, Sell Your Ass Off. That was my audiobook sample. Fuck Your Excuses, that was another great one. The Unwelcome Guest. Addicted, a bad boy stepbrother romance. Yes, I'm going to tell you this. Romance and erotica, those are the highest paying in the most popular genre to date. Sci-fi is right up there as well. Murder mystery, somewhat. But outside of that, if you're writing a business book, you're probably going to become a bestseller because you picked a very specific niche and you had a bunch of your friends go in and buy your books. That's just the truth of it. So it doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. You should definitely have fun with it. Look, there's one, Donald Trump, the pros and cons, why you should not vote for him. Like I even did a...
Donald Trump has been many things to America before announcing his candidacy for United States president. Outspoken, a loudmouth, disrespectful, spoiled, courageous, a coward, and even dangerous.
See, kind of cool. So here's another one.
Me? Possibly a father? I stuttered, rolling off the mat. I went over to the refrigerator I had there, looking around inside for some of the bottled water that I had stashed. It was flat and...
See, it's a great way to get your work out, and that stays cataloged.
Hello? Sophie, is everything all right? There was something strange about Mark's voice.
See, so you had to play the male and the female portion. Let me see, add a few other ones. Oh, here's one.
He cast himself in an impossible role. Mediator between two nations at war with each other. Gripping the text of his speech, his face pale, Camus faced the climax of a tragedy.
That was one of the more difficult books because I had to get the pronunciation of his name correct because of, he was like French, Algerian or something like that. And I had to nail the names. There were a lot of French-based words. It was a little challenge. My first book that I did right here.
I am not the Craftsman founder, and this is not my manifesto.
Nothing fancy, right? You know what I recorded that on? I recorded that on a microphone that I got from Yeti. It was a Yeti microphone, the long one. It was silver. I think it was a blue Yeti or something like that. But I made that using that and some software, and I'll show you really quick what I used. So ACX is going to be the place where you're going to go in and audition for different jobs. So you've got all these different projects. Obviously, I got 8 new messages. I have not checked it out. Let's go into ACX and see producers. So let me show you real quick. They've got titles, accepting auditions, and they've got producers for hire. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to come in, and it's kind of a 2-for-1 too. So you do need to know how to produce your own book. This right here, these are all accepting titles. So you can see or accepting auditions right now. The Road to Hell, that looks pretty interesting. The Book of Lucifer, that looks like an interesting book. Where the Moon Mislays Its Shine, that's interesting. My Right to American and My Right to American Opinion, Held in Contempt, that's an erotica novel. Let's see, but you can see there's a myriad of books. There are at least 50,000 titles that are in the queue to be examined every single day for processing. And the process right now, it takes about 30 days to get an audiobook actually listed and distributed. It's actually faster to distribute a podcast than it is to actually get an audiobook out there to the general public if you're going this route. So I think it's wonderful. You know, Amazon has control of the market in a very, very major way. Laughter's Cold Shadow, that looks interesting. Like if I wanted to audition for that, I could come in here. It tells me about how many words there are. So estimated hours, 4.8. The average word count is about 9,300 words per one finished hour of audio. So you can go in, it usually gives you an audition script. So we can come in, you can see what the Amazon sales rank is. It's not really high. You really usually want to get it closer to 1, the better. So when it's in the 400,000 range, it's, you know, anything less than 100,000 is usually pretty decent, but this is deadpan. So kind of gives you a detailed description of, you know, the genre. It's comedy. Never done a comedy book. Language, English, male or female character, adult, accent, American general, and then vocal style, deadpan. That would be like me talking like this. I was doing this, so blah, 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 da, 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 da. So might be kind of interesting in the vein of Tarantino or McCormick, McCarthy, and 3. See, I'd have to do some research on this, but this is really, really pretty interesting. So you never know where this journey is going to take you. So if you've ever wanted to go through and be an audiobook narrator, you have fair opportunity right here. It costs $0. You just need a microphone that you can use and some editing software. And I'm going to show you a little bit on the back end of how to clean up the audio, because this is a pretty extensive process. So once you get the audition done, it gets accepted. You know, they even have instructions. You got to follow instructions and pay attention, because you always want to nail it. Know that there's probably at least 10 to 20 people auditioning for the very same title. If you're really good and you nail it the first time, then you don't have to go back again. And then the agreement is that you actually do a royalty share plus. So they'll probably give you a little money, and they'll also split the profits with you for a period of 7 years. So the way ACX and Amazon pays is this. They take 60% of your earnings if you own the rights and you're the publisher. The other 40% gets split down the middle between the narrator, in this case it would be me, and the actual rights holder. So they only get, you know, 40% of the actual whole pie, and they have to split that with whoever does the work, because you're working on the front end for free. They usually don't have any money, right? So sometimes they have small budgets. Sometimes you can negotiate that, especially for the time used to produce. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, no, I'm good. I'm going to pass, and I'm going to have somebody else do it. Because you getting paid for 7 years, you could end up making, you know, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for doing a book that probably would have cost you. I'll give you an example. If I were to charge for this book to narrate and edit it, I can charge anywhere between $225 to $500 per finished hour. So in the most, I'd probably make about $2,500 to narrate this book and to produce it. But if I go the 7-year route, I stand to make a lot more money, right? Especially if the average is, you know, I'm making about $100 a month off the book. Now, is that the case? No. 9 times out of 10, no. Because royalties from Amazon, they find ways to take your money, and they've got more aggressive ways of only charging for what is actually read. So, and there's something called Whisper Sync too, that kind of cuts into the money too, so they don't have to share as much with the author and the rights holders. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's my advice to you. If you have a book and you want to make money off of it, write your book and sell it from your own website. Handle your own distribution. Get the cover made. You can do that easily. You can go in there and get it printed up. You can do it through Amazon if you want. They'll handle the fulfillment portion for you. But what I would say is just get in there and you can do your research. Decide what's going to be best. You might not want that headache, but if you're a really good writer and people buy your stuff and you have a good way to get leads, you can do that with phone sites. You can go in there and tear through and actually make a good little side living selling your books. Haas Pratt, I think he sells about 500 books a month, and it's a pretty hefty book. It's Listing Boss is what it's called. If you're in real estate or mortgage, it's a great book. If you're in sales, it's a great book. He kind of does some of the stuff that we do. So he spoke at one of our $1 Million Masterminds a few years ago, and you might want to check it out. He's a very, very good author, a very good trainer too. So, all right, let's go into the next portion. I want to show you the actual technical side. This right here is an excerpt from G Code, and I want to show you what's involved in editing a book. So for every 1 hour of audio, it takes about 3 to 4 hours to edit the audio. And here's the reason why. Because you have so many little tedious things that you're listening for inside of the audio. People think, well, I have a microphone, I have editing software. This right here is Adobe Audition 1.5. It's the older version. I like it because I had a disc when I was 30 years old. This is like 14, 15 years ago. And this program is still working for me. That's how long I've had it. So now you can get a web-based service or a cloud-based service, and it's like 20 bucks a month, I think. And you get Adobe 3.0. Real easy to have all bells and whistles and updated software. But I like this because it's simplistic for what I need. There's also a free software called Audacity, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But let's get into this real quick.
Words that used to have a specific meaning have been replaced with words that are vague. We're following in the day. You might wonder why we. You might wonder why we.
Do you hear that?
You might wonder why. You might want.
You hear that? So there's a mistake. That's the kind of stuff that we're listening for. So I'm going to go and select it.
You might wonder why we would want to change our language.
Hear a hard
to change our.
You're listening for pops, P's. What they call it is sibilants too.
To change our.
You hear that? So I have a couple of options here. I can come in and just shorten it by fading in. Usually the fade in is appropriate because you want to soften it.
To change our language. Which to become.
You hear that?
To become.
Probably cut some
language to become.
Fade that in a little bit, and a lot of this takes a little practice, but it's not difficult.
Language to become vaguer.
So, and there's a certain way that you want to format this too. So I know this is probably really, really riveting for you, but the technical side of it is not that sexy.
I'm no expert on Scandinavian government. I'm no expert with the American government either, but I do understand it.
You hear that? But hard consonants, we're looking out for hard consonants, like consonants like k or ch or p, right? So even if you have a pop filter, sometimes you get a little over exuberant, maybe a little overexcited, and you want to go in there and listen for those things. So, and that's a lot of what I do.
But I do understand that there is a difference between having intent between.
You hear the it kind of whistles, and this is different for everybody. I'll tell you why this is so important. Have you ever listened to somebody talk and you just like, I don't know why, but I just can't stand being around them? It's the equivalent of having a speech impediment. And it's not a bad thing. If you have a speech impediment, I'm not picking on you. My puppet has a speech impediment. Yo, hey, wake up, my name's Lil D. But, that's a very hard voice to listen to. That's why it's important to have very clean audio.
There's a difference between.
You know, right? You ever hear somebody go and right? Whenever they talk, that's why I can't handle people when they're like, so anyways, they like to hiss when they talk.
Difference between.
And I just can't. It's one of those things where I just can't handle it because my ear is trained.
Difference between having intention to.
I want to soften that a little bit. So why it's so important to nail the audio, it's not just simply talking. You have to have a clear, concise message and delivery of that message, because it makes a huge difference whether or not people are going to stay tuned or not, whether or not they're going to listen to you. If they don't like your voice, if they don't like a pitch, a tone, or you have mouth noise, you know that sound when people make when they're smacking their food at dinner? That happens sometimes when people are dehydrated, they've had too much dairy, or they've been smoking cigarettes or tobacco or anything like that. So it's very important. You want to have a very clean palate, clean mouth before you go in. You want to stay away from chocolate, sweets, and dairy, and anything that could cause any issues for you. So there's books out there that write about what's perfect, not just for voice, but also for your mouth, and to keep that from happening. So, because here's the thing, if you have it clean going in, you can have it clean coming out. So what goes in comes out. If you have a clean mouth going into the actual narration of your book, it's going to be easier on the back end, which will save you time. Instead of taking you 4 hours, it might take you 3 hours to edit your book for every finished
Having
hour.
intentions you can absolutely prove, especially in a court of law, and arriving at a place of result without intention. Without
You
intention.
hear that hard T. So there's a lot of tricks. You know, there are lots of people that are very good at doing this and editing. I've obviously gotten lots of practice. I think at this point I've got 70 books plus under my belt because I've done quite a few. At the point that I met Stuman, I'd only narrated and produced and edited 40 books. But then when I met him, I got 10 books over the last few years, and that's happened in a very short period of time. And as a result, I got to do books for a couple of other people. And it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful process. I'll tell you this, if you're thinking about narrating your own audiobook, it's important for you to do it, especially if you wrote the book yourself. For some reason, and this is very important, people want to hear from the person that actually wrote it. That's it. They want to hear it in their voice. Not everybody is able to do that, but if you're already a speaker, an author, a coach, or anything like that, a podcast host, go ahead and narrate your own book. You can hire guys like me to actually come in and clean up the audio on the back end. So we make that process real easy for you. So it doesn't take much. It does take a little time. So if you want hurry up, okay, cool. You're going to pay for that. That's a premium. However, if you're reasonable and you want, a couple of days to get something done, no problem. For every hour of produced audio, it takes, like I said, about 3 to 4 hours. So if you have a 3-hour book, it's going to take about 12 to 15 hours to get that book edited properly. Okay. That's mastering everything. Now, with that said, that's a whole other video. I could probably make a series on this whole process. But if you have any questions about this, any interest in it, just let me know because I love talking about it. I've got quite a few books under my belt. And one thing I'll tell you, if you enjoy working on your own in silence and in the quiet of your home, wherever you are, it doesn't matter where you are, this is a very, very decent way to make a living, especially if you like working on your own, you don't like working with a lot of people, or you like that one-on-one engagement. It's a wonderful career choice, especially if you love books, you love audio, anything of that nature. So, and it doesn't require much to get started. So you do need to have some technical acumen and you need to be good enough to submit your auditions and things like that. But outside of that, the world is yours. You can do whatever it is that you want. So I hope that helps you. Thanks again for tuning in tonight for the Hotline to Nine-ish. I know it's daytime in my window, but I had to record this because I've got other stuff going on. But I wanted to make sure that you had something that you could implement. Remember to go to acx.com, check out Adobe Audition as well too. It's a very easy platform. And there was one more I was going to show you, and it's called Audacity. We'll have to catch up on the next one. Let me do this here real quick. Let me see if I can find it for you. Give me 1 second. Audacity. There we go. Here, let's do this. Here we go. Give me a second. Okay. Let's go here. Oh. Can you see my screen? Okay, hold on. Let's do this real quick. All right. Share. There it is right there. Audacity. I wanted to show you that. It's very simple. Again, it's like an audio interface. You can basically import any audio. You can edit it. There's Rewire. We're not going to use that one though. That's an original. So I'm also editing the Rewire podcast. So those are really, really fun. If you need help with that, I'm always happy to help you with that too. So, all right, let me see. Where's our audio? But this is really, really simple. It's very simplistic, very easy to use. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to import the MP3 file. You can see.
Big blessing to you. I had to learn good, and then the SNLs crashed.
See?
And my family lost everything.
That's Stuman talking on the back end of one of the chapters, and that's going to be featured in the book. So the format's really, really cool. The way that we did it is I narrate it, and he does the recap on the chapters. So be looking for that. Hopefully we'll get it done soon. His schedule's kept him pretty busy, so nailing him down is sometimes a fun thing. But just look out for that. If you have any questions about audiobooks and going that route, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you. And if there's something I can edit for you and help you with, let me know, because I'm always happy to do that. I can do that for a nominal fee if you like, but it's an easy process, very simple. If you want to do it yourself, that's cool too. I guess I'll have to come up with a course. All right, $9.99, $9.99. That's all it takes. I'm kidding. All right. Have a great day. Thanks again for tuning in. And thanks to Phone Sites for sponsoring another episode of the Hot 9 at 9-ish. You can build a landing page or website in 5 minutes or less. Do not be shy. Go to phonesites.com/love. Start your 14-day free trial ASAP. So take care. Have a good one.